You're listening to the ADHD Heroes Podcast, a podcast where we speak with the heroes of the ADHD community, namely educators, mental health professionals, and of course, those with ADHD themselves, to gain insights, tools, and most importantly, inspiration towards succeeding and thriving with ADHD. I'm your host, Rabbi Shmuel Reich, a high school Rebbe and an ADHD coach in private practice. Welcome to the show. Hi there. On this week's episode, Shloimy Liff, whom I know as a division head in Camp Shirish, came on the show to share his ADHD story. We discussed his experience with medication, being hyperactive in school, growing up in a lively home where his behavior in school wasn't vilified, and how this prevented his having a sense of shame and guilt, the value of one-on-one attention, his mind wandering in conversations and learning to be more present to address it, staying focused at work, the value of good friends, the value of extracurricular activities, and a lot more. Important PSA, although we usually release an episode every other Thursday, we will be skipping a week because of the upcoming holiday of Sukkot, and the next episode will be coming out in 3 weeks rather than in 2. And a special shout out to my friend and student, Yoni Feder, for facilitating this conversation. Although Shloimy and I know each other for a long time, it was Yoni who recommended that we talk shop about ADHD, which led to this conversation. So thank you, Yoni. Before we begin the episode, I'd like to tell you about another podcast I listen to called the Chinuch Today podcast. The host of the Chinuch Today podcast is former ADHD Heroes podcast guest, Rabbi Yerachmiel Garfield, Menahel of Yeshiva Torah Emes of Houston, Texas. Rabbi Garfield interviews a wide range of creative thinkers who are already implementing their valuable innovations in the world of education. So whether you are a principal looking for new ideas to implement broadly, a classroom educator looking for inspiration, or a caring parent looking for hope throughout his coming down the pipeline, the Chinuch Today podcast may be for you. If you'd like to take out an ad for your product here on the ADHD Heroes podcast, you can email me at adhdheroespodcast@gmail.com. Now, on to the regular episode. Enjoy. All right, Shloimy Liff, welcome to the ADHD Heroes podcast. I'm very excited for our conversation today.
Oh, very, very excited. Been on my bucket list to be on a podcast, so.
Perfect. Okay, great. Glad to be a part of that. So let's start off with a little bit about yourself and your background.
My name is Shloimy Liff. I was born in Brooklyn, New York. I'm married now, live in Far Rockaway with 2 kids. I learn a little in the morning. I work in the afternoon. I sell tickets to sports, concerts, Broadway shows, and I got a lot of ADD.
Excellent. Okay, so we're excited to hear about that.
I'm a division head at camp in the summer, Camp Shores. That's how I know Rabbi Reich.
Great times right there.
Great times. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And I'm here to talk about ADD and how us ADD people are heroes.
Oh, you bet. All right. So, what's the first memory you have that you associate with ADHD?
My first, what is, when I think of ADD, like as a kid, like what comes to mind?
Yeah, the first thing that like you remember, first memory of your own, whether it's yourself, a family member, or somebody talking about it.
I hated taking my pills in the morning. That's
man, okay.
You say that right away. You say ADD
right.
As a kid, boom, pills.
Right. Okay, tell me more.
Matter of fact, every single morning. So whatever, my school made me take it. I don't blame them. But my mother gave it to me, and every single morning when she wasn't looking, I would take the pill, fake take it, and I throw it under the couch on the way out to the school bus. Got so crazy the throwing under the couch. So when she was cleaning for Pesach, she found literally 100 pills, and then she realized that I don't take my meds.
Oh, it's so funny.
I don't remember why I hated it. Like, I know I hated it taking it in 9th and 10th grade because then I was visible. Like I felt like I was like the pills made me anxious, made me moody, made me weird, made me like stop talking, maybe like. I remember like in 9th grade, I was thinking about like off Shabbos in 3 weeks. Like, what am I doing then? Like, who's going to invite me? Like, and like, I never had these thoughts, And when I didn't take them, I was way more chilled, way more relaxed. So that's why I always hated taking ADD pills my whole life. But I guess maybe we'll get into that. But that was my first memory. You say the word ADHD when I was a kid is the pills, you know?
Right. That is certainly memorable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you remember what caused the diagnosis? Like what got them started? What was going on in school?
I don't remember. I was a labor kid my whole life, you know? I think I have a record. In
Right, sure.
second grade, Mrs. Friedman's class, I got kicked out of class in one day 7 times.
7 times. Oh my.
Seven
Whoa.
times in one day in second grade. Again, I was just all over the place. You know, I couldn't concentrate, couldn't sit. I was always banging, always drawing, always, again, I didn't know what it was then. I was a rowdy kid.
Right. What was your own reaction to that? Like, how did you process that?
I think I was too young to like really process it. I just went into the hallway and said, "What's up?" to everyone else who was kicked out of class.
Right. Oh,
Sometimes I
perfect.
would go to, sometimes I would go to the gym, but I don't know. I wasn't like, there was no like shame or guilt, like, oh my gosh, I have ADD and like I'm like, I can't sit and like I'm getting always getting kicked out of class. Like, you know, I
Right.
think
Did
back
someone
then
do
it was like the cool kids got kicked out of, not like, the cool kids got kicked out of class. Like,
right? Did someone do something right to make that happen? Meaning to make it happen that you didn't feel bad about it. It was just like, okay, whatever, you're a fun kid. That's allowed. You're allowed to be a fun kid.
um, listen, my parents like never made it like a big deal. Like she got my mother got plenty. I won't say I'm one of 11. And, there's 6 boys, so my mother got thousands of phone calls throughout her life. But
Right.
I never like thought about it. Oh my gosh, I'm such a bad kid. I'm getting kicked out of class. My mother definitely like made charts with me and the teacher. You do well for a week, you get this, you get that, this prize, you go to that game. You would come home, with the behavior chart. But like, it wasn't like it wasn't really like a sugya. Like, yeah, I got kicked out of class 4 times today. What we do? Like, no one in my no one in my house made a big deal. At least one of my
Right.
brothers got kicked out every single day. So like,
Right. Yeah, you're a fun. You're a fun crew. I know a handful of your siblings. Certainly a fun crew. Do you think that's part of what went right there? That you had good precedent and your parents knew how
it
to
was
handle this already?
definitely a fun, laid back, chilling house, in most ways. But definitely regarding to this, it wasn't a thing. I kicked out of class, like, you're bad, you're not good, like I wasn't like I wasn't the greatest student either, like, so like, meaning like smart, like there wasn't like so much potential in the sense of like, I don't think my parents were expecting Shloimy to come home, every single day, and stay in class and every single day like get good marks on his tests. I was but it was definitely a fun house. It's definitely I get, I think just my parents were so immune to it. I was like, okay, like you can't invest too much
Right.
energy if you have 6 boys, getting kicked out of class. So
All right. So a parent who is listening, what can they take away a moral from this story, from this bit of it?
yeah, I think if you know your son, I think if you know your son well, or your son or your daughter well, and you have a good read on the situation that he's trying, you have communication with him. Man, if he gets kicked out of class a lot, like if he's honest with you, you're honest with him. What's going on? I'm here for you. You have trouble sitting. I think there's like a very good relationship between the two kids, like between the parent and the kid. It's not, it doesn't become like such a sugya. But if you're not like involved with your kid's school, you don't know what's going on. Like you just come home and like, and your kid gets kicked out every single day, and your chances are you will react like, much, the kid, however you will react, you probably will, cause more damage than harm,
Right.
because you probably will react, in a negative way, but I think having a good relationship with your kid, you'll be more, well, responsive or more understanding, you want to make a big deal from it.
Right. Oh, some real lot of good things here. You're saying that the relationship with your kid is valuable, as well as knowing your kid, knowing what to expect. So knowing what reasonable expectations are, and then having reactions that are within the context of a healthy relationship. Getting that right?
100%. You're such a good listener, Rabbi.
Oh, thank you. I try. Did you pick up any skills over the course of elementary school, or you're sort of up and running and were able to coast from there?
So twice a week I went. Well, my father always got me because I it's very hard for me to sit. So like, what was it, fifth grade, sixth grade, and seventh grade? He always paired me up after school with like an older base measures guy, and we learned what we did in class.
Right.
So that was very, very. I really that I remember actually. Now that you're bringing it up, I really enjoyed. I enjoyed that part. Of having that one-on-one attention.
So tell me more about this. What did the guy do right?
Oh, so
Good.
nothing again. Like I think it goes back to the same answer. Like I didn't really, I didn't like think of it like how am I going to get through school? And,
Right.
I wasn't just. It's just I never thought of myself as ADD, ADHD. It wasn't like I didn't make it like a sugya of like how am I going to get through school or any skills I need to pick up. I didn't go to a therapist. My parents didn't send me a therapist to go. If you
Right.
were around then I would have gone to you. But it wasn't. Yeah, I think that was that. Like I didn't think of it like I need coping skills and this. There were definitely issues. Like my as you just saw, my mind just blinked out. I forgot the question of something that was asked 10 seconds ago. I
Right.
think later on in life, like if you ask me the skills I'm working on now, that I could answer. But as
Right.
a kid, wasn't.
Got it. So we're gonna get back to the ones you're working now.
Right.
But I want to zero in on this on the base measure guide learner because that was a way that you got that. It sounds like it helped.
That definitely helped. I think that was another way. Like I think my parents knew I needed a one-on-one tutor. So for like an hour a night, we played basketball first, stuff like that. But I think we learned
That's
for
good.
like
Were you beating him even though he's
15,
older
20
than you?
minutes, and that in a one-on-one setting was pretty short and sweet. We did our homework, did review what we went on in class, and usually if you have 15 minutes, you could get what went on, in your 2 hour fourth grade class. Like
Right. Right.
you learn without a base measure guy for 15 minutes. It's
Right. Excellent. Okay. So I want to hear more about this. So a lot of things went right here. Number one, the one-on-one attention. Right. I'm getting it right.
yeah,
Number
that
two,
was
the
good.
focus on like what really needs to happen. In other words, in a classroom, I teach in a classroom, so I know you sometimes need to build things up in a way that keeps the class engaged. But for the guy with a racing mind, it makes him less engaged. So
100%.
for this guy who's teaching you, he can teach you in a very pointed way. Make sure he's got your attention when he's teaching you. Right? I'm getting this right.
100%.
And he made it fun and engaging because he played ball with you.
100%. 100%.
Were you better than him, even though you were much younger? You don't
No,
have to
not
say.
yet. Not yet. I was
Not yet.
pretty young then.
All right, fair enough. Okay, let's hop on over to high school. You were still in Brooklyn when you started high school?
No, I was in Chavetz Dallas.
Oh, cool. I don't know if I
Um,
know that. All right.
yeah, my older brother was there, so I went there.
All right.
Dallas, I loved that. I loved ninth grade there. I loved, 10th grade was also pretty good. It was just, not for me anymore after 10th grade.
All right.
It
What
was
did they do right
it
in
was a
9th and 10th grade?
no, it was a good yeshiva. It was your standard, structured high school that had a basketball team. They took you on trips, weren't down your back. So you had to pass your grades.
Right.
It was a standard high school. You miss shachas, you get the tension, this and
Right.
But no, I think I liked it. There's good guys there. My older brother was there. Sundays just watch football. We had a basketball team playing against other teams. So
So it sounds like they had good extracurriculars and they gave you
good
a long leash,
extracurricular. Yeah, yeah.
but not an endless leash.
Not an endless leash, which is why I had to transfer schools.
So it was a good run
It
while it
was
lasted.
good. It was good.
Right.
I still give them donations. Which
Excellent. Okay,
means
so
which
it's
means
a
I
very
don't
good
hate
run.
them.
It means you're what? Sorry.
Which means I do not hate them.
Perfect. Okay, so it sounds like that was a good experience, but by the
Yeah,
time you got into 11th grade, you needed a longer leash.
yeah. Um,
Excellent.
and then in 11th and 12th grade, I switched to Waterbury, and yeah, that was
What was
good.
that experience like for you?
That was very good. A lot of my friends went.
Right.
Um, it was right then it was like the third year Rabbi Kalish was there, so it was
Oh, wow. Okay.
yeah. But it was great. Waterbury was amazing, and yeah. I stopped taking ninth and 10th grade. I had to take my ADD pills, but in 11th, 12th, I stopped it. Um,
Right.
and yeah, but yeah,
Did that affect you positively, negatively, or neither? Not taking the meds anymore.
I think I was relieved to not take it. Just because I remember just having mood swings. It also affected my sleep. So that was pretty
Well, I
good
can
to
do
be
it.
off of it. But yeah, I think I was happier because of like the mood swings that I was not like mood swings that I was having, but
Right.
like just like I don't know, I was just I think that's what medications do. It was just like I felt like trapped. I felt like stuck,
Right.
and
I think most people consider those unpleasant side effects. Meaning,
yeah,
like, if they can find another option, they will.
yeah.
So
So,
if they have that side effect.
but yeah, I stopped taking it then.
Right.
But both high schools were great.
Right. The learning piece of it. Once you were off the medication, was it harder, or was it? Did you figure out ways to ways to navigate it?
So again, back then it wasn't like a so guy. Still, I think the same. I don't remember like clearly of like my issues in learning back then. Again, I can tell you about it now. Like I know the skills like socially and when I learn, how to get stuff right. But like in high school, it still wasn't a thing. And even going into base measures, like base measures, I wanted to. I said, because I wanted to, do better and learn more. I started taking a much lower dose in Israel. I went to Merkaz and I would take like a 10 milligram, and I in not in 10th grade in first grade measures, and that I remember helping me. I was able to sit longer. It was definitely easier for me to sit. Um, but I think it came different because like this was my own decision that I want to take it. It came from like a mature point of view that like it's long days of learning.
Right.
Maybe give it a try.
Right.
Took it. I took it then, and then I took it. Pretty much every day, like a low dose, all the way till like through the mirror, and then I stopped. But I enjoyed it then. I enjoyed it just because like it helped me.
Right. And what was the motive to stop?
I don't know. Maybe I should still be on it.
Hope I
um,
didn't just open a can of worms.
what was the motive? What was the motive to stop? I don't know. I don't know. I haven't taken it. Some I still have a stash. It's some days when I need it. When I need to like get a lot of work done. I won't take it for learning anymore.
Right.
But sometimes like there are times like my business partners like will tell me he's like, "Yo, you're zoned in today." I'm like, "Yeah, man." Like, I took it today.
Right.
Um,
Right. Taxes. When you do your taxes, that's like a
yeah, exactly.
might be a time where they come heavy, right? Yeah. Good.
Yeah. No, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't. Maybe just because my days of learning are shorter. My schedule's not as intense. I work for myself.
Oh, so me when you left yeshiva, that was when you left full time yeshiva. That was when you felt like you didn't really need it as much anymore.
Yeah, yeah,
Am I getting it right? Oh, got it. So
yeah.
you don't have the didn't have the same long days where you needed to focus as intensely.
Correct, correct.
Got it. So let's swing over to adulthood. It sounds like that's where a lot of the skill building went down. So what have been some of the challenges, and what have you been able to figure out?
So a lot of the challenges, the big challenge for me is like, and it's still a challenge, is like staying focused, like in conversation, staying focused, like on my work. Um, really, you should bring my wife in over here because she could tell you all the all the bad stuff about having conversation with me. But a lot of times, like my mind will just go like wander. You could be talking to me, and like my mind just goes, on to the
Right,
next. You could say like 7 words, I'll be like, what? So that's like a real work thing. I think it's gonna be a lifelong thing of me working on um,
right,
like I was in the sushi store today, and like someone came over to me, I know, oh, we can be for Yom Tov, and like I was in the middle of doing something, and like I had to like yo. like go kill this conversation, like go like get it, stay present.
Right.
Like we talk for 3-4 minutes, quick chat, and I felt great after, but it requires a lot of effort for me to like, zone in on you and
Right.
link every distraction, especially the hardest thing if I was in the middle of doing something. That's when
Right.
it's like murder.
Right.
But I haven't seen this guy, so you know, I get a lot of satisfaction after that, when I really, really put my mind, it sounds like it's like a stupid thing. You have a conversation with someone, but like
Oh no, I got you.
to
Yeah.
only people, don't understand. Like that's why it's also very hard for me. Well, I guess that would go into like the learning. Learning, I really could only understand, like learning if I'm writing while I hear it, because I don't know if other people have that. This works for me, because my mind could just wander off. So I cannot any rabbi speech, any lecture, I will not automatically not pay attention. Not even on purpose. I'll start and then 13 seconds later, my mind,
Right. Right.
Don't tell my Rav this because I haven't understood or paid attention to one of his, speeches, but not on purpose. Just because like I need a pen and paper. Pen and paper keeps me grounded, keeps me in the moment, keeps me present, keeps me focused.
Right.
So I learned that really helps me. And those are like the two things that I, realized, what I need to, you know, do to like it's, to,
Right.
socially learning wise, work also like work. I'll have something I have to do, then another thing pops up in my head and I'll run to that. And like, I really think like a biggest side in ADHD is like really trying to like focus on the like what are you doing now? I'm a
Right.
massive procrastinator, like push off things or well that's a separate thing. But like I'm a massive like how do I say it? Like distracted. I get distracted.
Yeah. Yeah.
You look at my phone, I have 41 tabs open on my phone right now.
Right.
I'm not joking. There's 41 tabs open. That
Right.
just shows I'm all over the place. I'm
Right.
jumping from this to that, and like someone texts me, boom, I'll get on like a 20-minute phone call sidetracked, of like what I need to do. And like, that's one thing in work, what I need to do now. Like davening, my brain wanders off like, davening becomes like my busiest thing. I have so many things to do during davening, just
Right.
because like my brain just goes and goes. And a lot of time during davening, I'll write. I have a pen and paper next to me during davening. I'll write down what I need to do, and like all these things. Like suddenly I have a whole list of what I need to do,
Right.
um, and then I realize I'm like, yeah, I'm just so not focused on like now. Like I really try to just block, especially during davening, because just you try to daven, you try to do one thing, just block everything out from just that's like a big is like focus on the now. I don't know, to me it's the only way to beat it, and I guess just keep on practicing.
Right.
um
Good for you.
yeah.
When did like these things you're working on as an adult? You said in high school they weren't really a thing. As an adult, they are a thing. When did they like
I
strike
think
you?
the more I became self-aware,
Right.
um my friend, like I used to like shout out to my friend Alicia. Alicia was like used to tell me all the time, like in high school and big smash, like yo, like talk to people, like you walk away middle of the conversation, you're ignoring people when they're talking back to you. That's all like this, and like I didn't realize, like, what are you talking about, and like, and it was like so true, but I totally wasn't doing it on purpose. Like
Right.
I was like, yeah, I was socially retarded because I think it was because of my ADHD. It's just like on to the next, and like have to learn like how to listen to the other person. That was a big thing. But
Right.
I think a lot of it just became the more self-aware. Like, oh my gosh, like I actually just I cut someone off while he's talking. I left the conversation.
Right.
Just, people who are close to me are telling me like, yo, like you got to work on this. You got to work on like just having a conversation with someone, not walking away, being present, talking. You know, dating was very hard for me. Also, I remember on dates I'm in a car with like a girl and like she's talking for 2 minutes. There were times where I have zero clue what she said.
Oh no.
Funniest thing, and sometimes I'm like Hashem, just I'm gonna respond. I have no idea what I'm responding. I'll be like nice, and like sometimes she'll be like what, I'm like, okay, that wasn't the right answer. Darn it. Like,
Uh-oh.
but my brain just goes and goes and goes. And I've had people come over and say, yo, like, you really, really have to work on this.
Right.
And so once people started pointing out, I also realized it also. But, more self aware, more, I guess, people tell you what. But
Good friends. Those are good friends.
good friends, good or bad. My wife tells me all the time. But yeah, those are the challenges, and that I guess the more self aware. Definitely a lot of anxiety came with that because it was so stressful to have like a conversation with someone because like you don't want to like hurt him, give him off the vibe of like ignoring and like um it's also it's so hard for me to have a conversation to just sit and just be present. So that's.
Right.
Those are the general stuff that made me more self aware, and it's a battle, and we're still.
Right. Have you learned any tricks for it?
Well, I definitely got better. I definitely got better at it, though.
Right. What'd you do to get better? I mean, just like pay attention to the fact that it's a
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, 100%. Just noticing and just doing it.
Right. How about parenting? How's that? Does it come up there at all?
So far not. I have a 3.5-year-old and a 9-month-year-old. I'm pretty attentive. It's actually a good point. I'm pretty attentive with my kids. I try not to have my phone around me when I come back from work and stuff like that. So, and let's say the 2 hours I have with my kid, I really just try to zone in. But again, like I assume, like right now, the kid's 3, so you're not really having conversations, like sophisticated conversations, or like 20-minute chills. It's like you're playing with them. You're saying, "How was your day? Good. Let's play basketball. Let's go on a bike ride." You're like, I assume when these kids are older,
Right.
and I'm in a nice car ride on the way to a bowl game, it's gonna come up.
Right. But it sounds like right now being active with them helps. Meaning they still need your attention. It sounds like you're being active with them, and that's very helpful. Am I right about that?
What do you mean?
Meaning to be present for them. That can take work, but it sounds like you're doing active, fun things with them, and that helps you stay in the interaction, even though it's not a verbal interaction.
Right.
It's
I
still
think I think as
understanding.
the interaction becomes much more verbal,
Right.
you know, and like a real relationship starts forming, it's the challenges will pop up again.
Right.
Um, but for now, Baruch Hashem, thank God, it hasn't been such a challenge.
Right. It
Like
sounds like you're
I've
doing something
never
right.
I've never said, oh shoot, I just spaced out when my kid was talking to me. You know, my
Right.
wife, and friends, and this happens too, but
Right.
not so much, not with my kids so much. I think that's because like there's not really so much conversation going on. They're just.
Right. Okay. So speaking of being active, so let's talk ADHD strengths. Because I'd venture to say you have a lot of them. Thank God. So talk to me. Where do you see them?
ADHD strengths. Um, I could do a lot of things. I could do a lot. I don't get
Yeah. Yeah.
overwhelmed by
Talk to
like.
me.
I don't get overwhelmed by like I have like uh 12 things. If I could have 12 jobs.
Right.
I don't know
Well,
why
very
that
good. So the
is,
running
but
from one thing to
like,
another doesn't scare you. Sorry?
yeah, it doesn't scare me. Like I run a basketball league now. I sell tickets. I'm a division head in camp, involved in camp, so that's 3 jobs. But I could, I do it
Right.
all at the same. I do it all at the same time. Um,
Right.
I, I'm not, I don't know if this has to do with ADHD, but like I'm not scared to like take on like more jobs. Like a school
Right.
offered me a position, and like I was like, yeah, I'll do it. Like, what's the big deal? My wife's like,
Right.
yo, it's too much. Like, I'm like, no, it's not. I could do it all at the same time. Like.
Right.
I don't know if that has to do with ADHD, but I just the
So
concept to me
sometimes,
doesn't overwhelm me that like there's 12 things to do.
right, you sort of like the idea of being busy with multiple things at the same time.
Right. That's a different way to spin it. Right. I guess I love being busy. I love being busy. Love being busy, always doing something. But yeah, I guess that's a strength.
Often coming together with ADHD are creativity, personality, and often a lot of interest in sports, athletics, whatever.
Yeah, I definitely play a lot of
Yeah,
sports. I definitely play a lot of sports.
right.
Um,
You still
um,
got it. We saw this summer.
Still got it. We still got
Yeah,
it.
that's good.
um,
And I've seen you on stage in legendary style.
yeah.
Are there benefits to camp as an experience? Meaning to give
I
you like
think
the
everyone.
opportunity to,
I think everyone, was ADD as camp is the best for them. Just you're not in a desk. You're out and about. You need
right,
space, and then running around sports, get that energy out, and all those good stuff. Are great for any kid. I don't know, not just ADHD kids, but
right.
um, I think the kid who loves camp most is the kid who is hard. It's hard for him to be in that classroom, and that's a lot of kids, but especially the ADHD kids.
Yeah, yeah, I think so too. So, what's a message of hope you can offer our listeners, and a practical solution or two?
Message of hope. I don't know. I don't think it's that bad that it needs a message of hope. Like
Right.
it is what it is. Like if someone is extremely down about it, like
A lot of people are, by the way.
well,
A lot of people are.
oh
A lot of
really?
people
All
take
right.
it really hard. Yeah, yeah, a lot of people take it really hard. Some people take it that a parent will take it like my kid has a disorder. Like they get all panicky about that. That's
Right.
the thing that scares people a lot. And some people, you've set yourself up with a life that works, that suits your strengths. Some people are not as fortunate. Either they haven't figured it out or they feel social pressures and now they feel very beat down. What can you tell them?
I would say that go listen to Ryan's podcast. There's hundreds and hundreds of people who are successful people these days you know, with between not paying between successful companies. Go. These are all people who are on your podcast who are very successful and don't have ADD, and I don't look at it as a disorder. It's
Right.
your chances are your kid has ADHD has more personality. It's I say just zoom in on the strengths and don't. I think with my parents, and I never even thought about it, but now once we're talking about it, I think it wasn't like I think the reason why people are guilty about it is because you're making it such a sugya. Like you don't make it such a sugya, and and just focus in on your kids' talents and your kids' pros. Then I'll give an example. There's a famous story in my house. My father knows I have tons and tons of energy. I was being super annoying Friday night, running around, jumping up and down. I was just annoying everyone in my family.
Right.
My father, it's after the meal. My father's like, Shloimy, I could do cartwheels, tons and tons of cartwheels. As a kid, I would just do cartwheels and flips.
Oh, no, I've never seen that one.
Let me do Shloimy, if you do 1,000 cartwheels now, I'll give you. They used to make these marshmallow ropes, like they were like 2 feet big.
Right.
I'm gonna give you 2 marshmallow ropes. They cost 50 cents each. So, are you serious?
Right.
I went to my shorts and a t-shirt. I'm not my shorts. I actually remember what pajamas I was wearing.
Right.
Matching set, baseball set. And I
Oh, nice.
did 750 in a row. Then I'm like, I almost died. And then the rest I continued,
Right.
Shabbos, So right there is like a perfect example of like, I'm not going to scream at my kid that he has tons of energy and that he's annoying everybody. Like, how could I feed into his Wildkeit and like energy, you know? And I did 750 cartwheels. I stopped annoying everybody. Everyone's reading the mishpacha. I'm in the background just doing flips up and down, living room and dining room.
That's amazing.
You know,
Right.
and that was like, that's like the best thing a parent can learn from my father is like, I was in every single league,
Right.
possible. I was also well again. It would also help that I loved sports. I was very into sports then. But your kids got to move. Sign them up to every single extracurricular school activity.
Right.
Shouldn't be that you come back from school and like, okay, let's do homework. Like
Right. Any other gems coming to mind that your father nailed like that?
he nailed a lot of things with regarding to ADHD. What else comes? Well, I guess those two things. Not making it a big deal. I was. I never even heard the word around my house.
Right.
But that's definitely bad if a parent gives off the vibe to their kid that this is a disorder. Then yeah.
Right. So you really need to normalize, or not even talk about it as a thing. You're saying just it is what it is. Deal with deal
Yeah,
with
and,
deal
and
with the
just and
personality. Deal with what they need.
yeah, and just and feed. There's plenty of good stuff that you can just feed ADD with. Such as tons of sports.
Right. What role did music play for you?
I was actually in a kids choir,
Right.
not because of my ADHD. I was in Yeshiva Boys Choir as a kid.
Right.
I had a good voice. I loved music. I guess that was also another thing. My parents thought like that. Just that. Plenty of kids in the choir now with ADHD. But
Right.
again, my parents thought of it as like another, Shloimy's a good voice. Shloimy loves singing. So like let's sign him up for this choir, Formed at Brooklyn College, Carnegie Hall, Madison Square Garden. But that was another extracurricular activity that I got to have, twice a week after school, during like Yom Tov season, we'd practice more. It was a lot of fun. I was in it with, 2, 3 friends. And yeah, but I still love music. I'm a big music guy, I down for the and now, Yom Rum. So it's a lot of hope. Tell the parents that there's a lot of
Oh,
hope.
excellent. Okay. Anything else we wanted to mention today?
No, I'm saying no. I don't know. This just popped in my mind. It's like I see my kid. My kid has tons of energy. Also, I have no idea if he has ADHD, but like I I think my wife told me this. Like I could like catch, like I could like with his Wildkeit, I could like I don't get phased by it. I get sometimes I do, but like
Right.
just because like I think like I was the same way, and I could totally relate to like he just need to run around. I'm just so like
Right.
run around and jump on the couch and just rip things and that things and just always be on the move and so I already know like hey you're hyper going outside and like an hour of playing ball, running up and down, like that solves the problem, that solves the solution, but
Yeah.
that solves not the solution, that solves the problem. But like, I really, really think that for me, just since I dealt with it and I could totally understand like where my kid's coming from. That's I guess also another thing that another takeaway that I guess I have experience in this, so I could relate to the ADHD kid.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. Good for you.
I
Not
don't
every.
know if it's like my wife comes from like a more like straight family,
Right.
but I will, I've had this ADHD, I've had this energy, I've had this, I felt the need to just rah,
Yes.
run
Yes, I do.
around, just go from thing to thing. And yeah.
Do you use that insight in camp also, as division head? Do you find that you're like drawing from that experience?
But I think like the campers are much older then, so like I don't really see it. They're not as like stuck and trapped,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Got it.
They're more, I think every camp is favors the ADD kid. But I don't think yeah, I can't I don't know. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. So if people want to get in touch with you and follow up, how could they do so?
347-907-9711 is my phone number. And
Excellent.
I'll be glad to
It'll be
talk
my
to
maybe tab number 42.
you. Yeah.
Um, excellent. Okay, Shloimy Liff, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Okay. My pleasure.
Thank you again for listening to this episode of the ADHD Heroes podcast. For questions about the podcast, you can email us at adhdheroespodcast@gmail.com. Also, for sponsorships or to share your story, your ADHD story, you can also email us at the same place, adhdheroespodcast@gmail.com. To be in touch with me about ADHD coaching, writing, or speaking engagements, you can email me at rsreichadhdcoach@gmail.com. Be sure to check out my website, rsreich.com, adhdcoach.com. You can follow me on LinkedIn, or you can check out my blog on nefesh.org. Check out my blog there under my name. Important disclaimer: podcasts are great, but they do not take the place of mental health help or medical help. So if you need help with mental health or need a doctor, be sure to be in contact with some of them. Please, if you like this show, please rate, review, and share with a friend. That's how these things get out there. Thank you again for listening, and thank you to our producers at Pretty Easy Podcasts.